Wake up. Seriously, take a deep breath and look at your life right now. Are you actually living, or are you just going through the motions? Are you waking up with purpose, or are you just waiting for the day to end? Most people are sleepwalking through existence. They treat life like a rehearsal. But here is the cold, hard truth. This is the main event. There is no second take. I want to share a story about a quiet room in a hospital wing. A group of researchers once sat down with 100 people who were in their final days. These were people who had seen it all, the highs, the lows, the decades of work. The researchers asked them one simple question. If you could do it all over again, what would you change? What is your biggest regret? Think about that for a second. What do you think they said? Did they talk about the money they never made? Did they complain about a boss they hated or a promotion they missed? No, not a single one of them mentioned their bank account or their job title. Instead, they all whispered the same painful truth. I wish I had been brave enough to live the life I truly wanted, not the life others expected of me. They regretted the risks they never took. They regretted the dreams they left to gather dust on a shelf. They regretted the times they chose comfort over their own happiness. That should hit you hard. Because right now, you are breathing, your heart is beating, and the clock is ticking. But are you truly alive? Or have you already let your dreams, your passion, and your spark die out? Many of you wake up only to survive the grind. You laugh at the weekend just to make it through Monday. You spend your life scrolling, copying others, and waiting for some perfect moment that will never come. You call that living? That is just existing. Real living is not found in your job description. It is not in the car you drive or the likes you get on a screen. Living is what makes you jump out of bed at 4 a.m. because you are excited to build your future. Living is choosing the hard path that makes your soul scream with joy rather than the easy path that makes you feel empty. It is about stopping the search for permission. One day you will be gone. But today you are still here. Today you have a choice. You can keep watching your life from the sidelines, or you can step into the game. Let us figure out how to wake up for real. Stay with me. What comes next will shift your entire perspective. Chapter 1: Perception and Psychology. To change your life, you first have to change the way you see it. Most people walk around feeling trapped. They feel stuck in a dead-end job, trapped by their bank balance, or held back by where they grew up. But here is the secret. They are not trapped by their circumstances. They are trapped by their own minds. If your internal lens is cracked, everything you see will look broken, even when the world around you is perfectly fine. But if you clear that lens, you can walk through the toughest storms and still feel like you are in control. Perception is the filter you use to process your reality. Think about two people living the exact same day. One person hits a traffic jam, spills their coffee, and calls it a disaster. They see it as a sign that the universe is against them. The other person hits that same traffic jam, but they use the time to listen to a podcast, learn something new, and call the day a lesson. Same events, different stories. The meaning you attach to your experiences becomes the script of your life. Let me give you an example. Imagine two brothers, Leo and Sam, growing up in a house where their father was cold, angry, and never offered a word of encouragement. Years later, Leo is bitter. He says, "I am miserable because my father ruined my childhood, and now I am just a product of his anger." But Sam? Sam looks at the same past and says, "I am the way I am because of my father. He showed me exactly who I never want to be, so I chose to be patient, kind, and supportive." Same house, same pain, completely different outcomes. That is the power of your psychology. You can either let your past define you, or you can use it to design your future. Everything you see is filtered through your old beliefs. If someone gives you a compliment but your lens tells you that you are not good enough, you will push that person away. If an opportunity shows up but your lens tells you that you are not capable, you will sabotage it. The real enemy is not the world out there. It is the lens you are looking through. If you want to live a life that actually feels good, you have to fix that lens. You do it by asking better questions. Stop asking, "Why is this happening to me?" and start asking, "What is this trying to teach me?" When you catch yourself spiraling with a negative story, hit the pause button. Breathe. Remind yourself that it is just a story, and you have the power to write a better one. Surround yourself with people who see the world with clarity, not fear. Because at the end of the day, you do not see the world as it is. You see it as you are. Change your mind, and you change everything. Chapter 2. Relationship Dynamics. Let me ask you something real. When you walk into a room to meet your closest group of friends, do you feel like you can breathe? Do you feel uplifted and ready to take on the world? Or do you feel like you have to shrink yourself, hide your ambitions, and play small just to fit in? The truth is, you are not just a product of your own choices. You are a reflection of the people you keep around you. There is a simple, brutal truth in psychology. You are the average of the 5 people you spend the most time with. If your inner circle is full of people who are constantly complaining, gossiping, or living in fear, then that is exactly where your energy is going to end up. You might be the most positive person in the world right now, but if you hang out with people who mock your dreams or laugh at your drive, their skepticism will eventually become your own. You start to doubt your own vision. You start to think your goals are too big. You start to settle for average because that is the standard they set for you. When you spend time with others, you are not just trading words, you are trading energy. You are absorbing their habits, their outlook, and their limitations. If you surround yourself with people who think that being lazy is normal, you will start to feel guilty for working hard. If you are around people who think that personal growth is a waste of time, you will start to feel stupid for trying to level up. That is not friendship. That is a slow drain on your potential. I know what you are thinking. It is hard to walk away from people you have known for years. You do not have to pick a fight or cause drama. You just have to outgrow them. Growth often comes with a season of loneliness, but you have to decide what is more important, staying comfortable with the wrong crowd or finding the people who actually align with your future. Consider this. A young woman named Maya wanted to start a business. Every time she mentioned it to her old group of friends, they would roll their eyes and say, "Why bother? You are fine where you are. Just stay safe." She felt crushed. But then she started attending workshops and met a group of creators who were hungry for growth. They didn't tell her it was impossible. They asked her what her first step was. Within a year, she was running her own company. Same girl, same talent, but a completely different environment. Audit your circle today. Ask yourself these 3 things. Does this person expand my world or shrink it? Do I feel energized after we talk, or do I feel emotionally drained? And most importantly, would my future self be proud of me for keeping this connection? You do not have to carry everyone with you on your journey. Some people are just chapters in your life, not the whole book. Protect your energy like your life depends on it, because it does. Choose people who see your fire and add fuel to it, not people who want to put it out. Chapter 3. Don't try so hard. There is a quiet, heavy kind of pain that defines a lot of our lives today. It is the exhaustion of trying too hard to be someone you are not. You are out there running in circles, trying to be loved, trying to be successful, trying to be enough. And in that desperate struggle, you end up losing the very person you were trying to protect, yourself. Society loves to scream at you to work harder, push longer, and hustle until you break. But nobody ever talks about the cost of that constant, frantic effort. You lose your peace, you kill your joy, and you lose your true voice. Here is the truth you need to hear. Trying too hard is not how you build a life. It is actually how you drown. When you are constantly trying to prove your worth, you are signaling to yourself that you are not enough as you are. You are tying your value to the outcome instead of your presence. You are addicted to the performance, not the purpose. Think about a man who falls into a rushing river. If he panics, kicks wildly, and fights the current with everything he has, he sinks faster. The more he battles the water, the more he gasps for air, and the more exhausted he becomes. But the moment he stops fighting, the moment he lets go and trusts the water, he starts to float. Life works the same way. When you try to control every single outcome, you lose your way. When you release that grip, you start to rise. You need to know the difference between effort and force. Effort is healthy. Effort is like planting a seed and watering it with love and patience. Force, however, is toxic. Force is like digging up that seed every single day just to see if it has sprouted yet. Effort is giving your absolute best. Force is never feeling like your best is enough. Stop trying to impress people who don't even think about you. Stop trying to prove your worth to people who have already decided they won't value you. Stop trying to be perfect just so no one leaves. In all that performance, you stop living. You become a machine, a mask, a script. Letting go does not mean giving up. It means surrendering the need to control things that were never yours to control in the first place. It is about trusting the process and knowing that you are enough right now, exactly as you are. Imagine a girl named Chloe who spent years being the perfect daughter. Straight A's, constant smiles, never a complaint. But inside, she was crumbling under the weight of it all. One day, she just stopped. She sat her parents down and told them the truth. She didn't want to be their project anymore. She wanted to be their daughter. That day, she didn't lose their love. She found it. Because real connection only begins when the performance ends. You were never born to prove your worth to the world. You were born to live it. Take a breath. Let go of the pressure. You don't need to hold your breath to be loved. You are already here. Chapter 4. Health and Vitality. Let's be real for a second. You can have all the big dreams in the world, a mountain of cash, and every opportunity knocking at your door. But if you don't have your health, you have absolutely nothing. There is no such thing as true wealth without health. Without the energy to actually live your life, you are just surviving. Most people don't wait until they are 80 to die. They start dying at 40. Their bodies break down, their minds get foggy, and their spirits go numb. They are still breathing, but they have stopped living. They call it aging, but really, it is just neglect. If you want to live fully, you have to protect your energy like it is your most valuable asset. Vitality isn't just about going to the gym or having a six-pack. It is your life force. It is the reason you wake up with a fire in your belly instead of a sense of dread. It is the spark in your eyes and the strength behind every decision you make. When you lack vitality, life feels like a prison. Think about what is draining you right now. Is it the processed food that leaves your brain feeling like it is stuck in a fog? Is it the blue light from your phone stealing your sleep every single night? Is it the fact that you sit for 10 hours a day, or the negative thoughts that you let loop in your mind? Most people are not tired because they work too hard. They are tired because they aren't living enough. They eat dead food, live under artificial lights, and wonder why they feel inflamed, anxious, and exhausted. That is not a life. That is a slow way to break yourself down. To truly thrive, you need to take care of three things: your body, your mind, and your spirit. First, your body. Move it every single day, not to look good for others, but to feel alive in your own skin. Drink water like it is medicine, because it is. Eat food that comes from the earth, not from a factory. Your body is the only home you have. If you don't clean it and fuel it, it will eventually fall apart. Second, your mind. Your mental diet is just as important as what you put on your plate. Garbage in, garbage out. Feed your mind with peace, not panic. Read things that challenge you, rest deeply, and learn to think for yourself. A calm mind is the foundation of a clear life. Third, your spirit. Do you ever make space for your soul? Do you ever just sit in silence and listen to your own thoughts? Breathe deeply, get outside, and disconnect from the noise to reconnect with yourself. This isn't just fluffy talk. This is essential medicine for a tired soul. Take the story of Marcus. He was a high flyer, pulling in 6 figures, working 16 hours a day, and living out of a suitcase. One day, he just collapsed at his desk. His doctors told him he was healthy on paper, but he was completely burnt out. He had the money, but no energy. He had the status, but no sleep. He took 6 months off to change everything. He started walking in the mornings, cut out the junk, and started reading again. When he came back, he said, "This is the first time in 15 years I actually feel alive." You don't need a breakdown to start. Start today. Get 7 to 8 hours of sleep. Move your body for just 20 minutes. Choose real fuel over chemicals. Protect your energy physically and emotionally. If you don't make time for your wellness now, you will be forced to make time for your illness later. This life is short, and your body is the only vehicle you have to experience it. Treat it like your only home, because it is. Everyone dies, but not everyone protects their energy enough to truly live. Chapter 5. Discover your life's task. There is something more dangerous than failing, more painful than heartbreak, and more hollow than being broke. It is this: waking up at the end of your life and realizing you never actually discovered why you were born. Most people just follow the script. They wake up, they commute, they work, they scroll, they eat, they sleep, and they repeat. Years turn into decades, and one day they whisper to themselves, "Is this really all there is?" They had a fire once, a calling, a spark, but they buried it under the weight of what everyone else told them they should do. Now they are just surviving a life they never truly chose. Your life's task isn't just some fancy job title. It is the one thing that only you can do. It is your unique contribution to this world, the thing that pulls from your pain, your talents, your history, and your voice. It doesn't always come with a paycheck, but it is the only thing that gives your life real gravity. A person without a task is a drifting ship, but a person with a task is an unstoppable force. Why do so many people never find it? Because they were told to play it safe. They were told to be realistic, to follow the rules, and to keep their dreams small. So they traded their genius for a steady salary and their soul for approval. If you feel hollow, it is not because you are broken, it is because you are misaligned. To find your way back to your purpose, you need to ask yourself the hard questions. First, what did you love doing as a kid before the world told you what success looked like? Go back to those moments when time just disappeared. Second, what is the one thing that feels easy for you but seems like a struggle for everyone else? That is your natural zone of genius. Third, what is a problem in this world that you are obsessed with solving, even if nobody paid you to do it? Fourth, what is the pain you have survived that you could use to help others? That is your emotional calling. And finally, if money were no object, how would you spend your days? That is your soul's truth. Write these answers down. Think about them when it is quiet. Your purpose isn't lost. It is just waiting for you to remember it. You don't need to have it all figured out by 20 or 30. Some people don't find their stride until they are 50 or 70. There is no deadline on becoming who you were meant to be, but there is one rule. If you don't go searching for it, you will take that gift with you to the grave. And that is the ultimate tragedy. This world doesn't need more copies of the same person. It needs people who are fully alive. You weren't born just to pay bills and die. You were born to build, to heal, to speak, to invent, and to inspire. Everyone dies, but not everyone finds out why they lived. Find your task, commit to it, and give your life to it. That is how you become eternal. Chapter 6: Financial Intelligence. Let's be honest about money. It isn't everything, but it touches everything. Your health, the quality of your relationships, your peace of mind, your ability to create, and your freedom to explore, all of these rely on your financial stability. People who claim that money doesn't matter are usually the ones who don't have to worry about how to pay their bills. The truth is, financial ignorance is a dream killer. Financial intelligence, however, is a key to your freedom. Most people are trapped in a cycle of living paycheck to paycheck, not because they are lazy, but because they were never taught how money actually works. They treat money like a mystery or a source of shame. They don't know where it flows, why it disappears, or how to make it work for them instead of against them. You need to stop being a slave to your bank account and start becoming the master of your resources. There are 3 common lies that keep people broke. First, the idea that money is evil. It isn't. Greed is the problem. Money is just a tool. It's like a magnifying glass. It just shows the world who you already are. Second, the belief that working harder is the only way to get rich. Hard work is important, but if you don't understand assets, investments, and ownership, you will just work yourself into the ground while staying in the same place. Third, the lie that you are just bad with money. Nobody is born knowing how to manage wealth. It is a skill, just like building a muscle. You can train yourself to be better. If you want to be free, you need to master 5 pillars. 1. Learn to save, but don't just hoard it under a mattress. Learn how to use those savings to build something bigger. 2. Start investing early, even if it is just a small amount. Compound interest is the 8th wonder of the world. Small, consistent habits pay off more than one-time lucky breaks. 3. Create multiple streams of income. Do not rely on just one job. Learn skills like writing, consulting, or selling that can pay you in different ways. 4. Learn the difference between a need and a want. A lot of people are broke because they prioritize toys over tools. Invest in your growth, not just your lifestyle. 5. Let money serve your freedom, not your ego. Don't spend cash to impress people you don't even like. Stop being afraid to talk about money. The more you keep it in the dark, the more power it has over you. Read the books, watch the videos, and ask the tough questions. Poverty is often just a lack of strategy and education. You can't control inflation or the economy, but you can control your knowledge. Make money your servant, not your master. Everyone dies, but not everyone becomes financially free enough to actually live. Get your house in order, build your freedom, and then use that freedom to help others do the same. Chapter 7: Discipline and Self-Love. Most people have a soft, mistaken idea of what self-love actually is. They think it means treating yourself to a spa day, buying things you don't need, or constantly letting yourself off the hook when things get tough. But real self-love is much deeper, and honestly, it is much harder. Real self-love is discipline. You cannot truly love yourself if you keep breaking the promises you make to your own heart. Every time you say you will start something and then quit, you are telling yourself that you don't matter. Discipline isn't a punishment. It is the highest form of respect you can show yourself. It means showing up when the bed feels too warm, saying no to the quick fix when you know it hurts your future, and choosing long-term growth over a moment of comfort. People who lack discipline are always waiting for a spark of motivation. They say, "I will start when I feel like it." But people who have mastered self-love know better. They act even when they don't feel like it, because they understand that motivation is a fickle friend, but discipline is a foundation. Think about the last time you hit the snooze button. You chose the immediate comfort of 5 more minutes of sleep over the commitment you made to your own morning. That is self-abandonment. But every time you get up, every time you push through a workout when your body wants to quit, or every time you sit down to study when you would rather be scrolling, you are choosing yourself. You are building a version of you that can be trusted. Self-love is about setting boundaries. It is about saying, "I deserve more, and I will not settle for less than my best." It is about choosing the food, the habits, and the people that honor the person you are becoming. If you say you love yourself, but you keep destroying your health or wasting your time, that is a lie. That is not love. That is hurting yourself. Start small. Pick one thing that you will do every single day, no matter what. Maybe it is 10 minutes of reading, or maybe it is waking up at the same hour every morning. Don't worry about being perfect. Just focus on being consistent. Remove the options that lead you away from your goals. If you want to eat clean, don't keep junk in the house. If you want to focus, put your phone in another room. Track your promises in a journal. Did I keep my word to myself today? That simple question will rebuild your confidence from the ground up. You cannot heal what you continue to harm. You cannot grow into your best self if you keep making excuses for your worst self. Discipline is the daily proof that you believe in your future. It is not about restricting your life. It is about protecting it. Everyone dies, but not everyone loves themselves enough to build the life they truly deserve. If you want real power and real freedom, start with discipline. Start with love. Chapter 8. Empathy. In a world that is constantly screaming for your attention, obsessed with personal success, status, and raw power, there is one trait that often gets left behind. It is quiet, it is subtle, and it is completely life-changing. I am talking about empathy. If you want to live a life that actually means something, if you want to build connections that go beyond the surface, you need to master this superpower. Most people confuse empathy with sympathy. Sympathy is just standing on the sidelines and saying, "I am sorry you are going through that." It is distant. Empathy, on the other hand, is getting into the trenches with someone. It is saying, "I might not have lived your exact story, but I am here with you in the middle of it." It is the ability to pause your own ego, put down your judgment, and actually feel what someone else is experiencing. Some people think being empathetic is a sign of weakness. They are dead wrong. Empathy is the highest form of emotional intelligence. It is what heals wounds. It is what stops arguments from spiraling, and it is what opens doors that were previously locked. At the end of the day, nobody is going to remember your resume or how many followers you had. They are going to remember how you made them feel. Without empathy, you might climb to the top of the mountain, but you will find yourself completely alone. So how do you practice this in your daily life? First, stop listening to reply. Most of us are just waiting for our turn to speak, thinking about what we want to say next. Instead, listen to understand. Sometimes, the person in front of you doesn't need your advice or a solution. They just need to feel heard. Second, assume the best in people. When someone is acting cold or short-tempered, try to remember that they are likely fighting a battle you know nothing about. Before you label them, try to see their humanity. Third, ask the right questions. Instead of just asking, "How are you?" which we all know gets a fake answer, ask, "What is the hardest part of your day?" Or, "Is there anything I can do to support you right now?" These simple human questions can save someone from a dark place. And finally, don't forget to show that same grace to yourself. You can be the most successful person in the room, but if you are arrogant, cold, and selfish, you aren't living. You're just performing. True living happens in the space between people. Relationships grow when you show up with an open heart. That is how you become a person worth remembering. The strongest people aren't the ones who have never been hurt. They are the ones who have been through the fire, understand the pain of others, and still choose to be kind. So, listen deeply, speak with care, and feel openly. One day, you might be the one needing that same understanding. Everyone dies, but not everyone chooses to be a healer in a world full of hurting people. You can be that person, and that is how you truly live. Chapter 9. Focus on yourself. There is a quiet, steady voice inside you that knows exactly what you need to do. It is calm, it is honest, and it is yours. But most of the time, you can't hear it. It gets drowned out by the constant noise of other people's opinions, the pressure to keep up, and the endless scroll of comparison. Most people never actually become who they are. They just become a collection of what the world told them to be. Because instead of focusing on their own path, they are busy watching the crowd. And that is the fastest way to lose yourself before your time is even up. Focusing on yourself isn't about being selfish or cutting everyone out. It is about building your life around your own values instead of society's trends. It is about measuring your growth against your own potential, not someone else's timeline. It is about doing the work in silence, healing in private, and staying true to your direction, even when nobody is there to cheer you on. In this age of social media, we are constantly comparing our behind-the-scenes reality to everyone else's highlight reel. You see someone else's success and wonder why you are falling behind. But you don't see the sleepless nights, the anxiety, or the struggles they are hiding. When you compare, you lose your own uniqueness. You forget that you are running your own race. Imagine two runners. One is running a marathon, slow, steady, and focused on the finish line. The other is sprinting, burning out fast, and chasing shadows. If the marathon runner starts worrying about how fast the sprinter is moving, he will lose his rhythm and collapse. That is exactly what happens to you when you look at others. You were designed for your own pace. If you try to copy someone else's path, you will only exhaust yourself and never arrive at your own destination. To start focusing on yourself, you have to cut the noise. Spend at least 30 minutes every single day with zero input. No phone, no music, no people. Use that time to think, walk, or just breathe. That is where your voice lives. If someone's content makes you feel inadequate, anxious, or small, unfollow them. Protect your mental space like your life depends on it, because it does. Define what success means to you, not to your parents, not to your boss, and not to the world. Once you define it, build your life around it. Celebrate the small wins that nobody else sees. If you handled a tough situation better than you did yesterday, that is progress. If you stayed calm when you wanted to explode, that is power. Focus on your own ladder, not someone else's finish line. When you spend your whole life watching others, you miss your own greatness. Focus is not selfish, it is sacred. Everyone dies, but not everyone focuses long enough to build a life worth living. Tune out the crowd, tune in to your soul, and start building your own reality. Chapter 10. Smile often. When was the last time you actually smiled? I don't mean a polite grin because something was mildly funny, but a real, genuine smile because you suddenly remembered that you are here, you are breathing, and you are alive. Life is undeniably heavy, but it is also incredibly precious. Most people walk through it with a permanent frown, not because they are inherently angry, but because they have forgotten how to see the beauty in the small things. Smiling isn't a sign of weakness or naivety. It isn't about pretending that everything is perfect when it clearly isn't. Smiling is a massive act of strength. It is the courage to look at a difficult world and decide that you will still carry hope. It is a choice to keep your light on even when the room feels dark. Most people are stuck in a relentless chase. The next promotion, the next paycheck, the next big milestone. And in that frantic race, they completely miss the present moment. They tell themselves, I will be happy when I get there. But the truth is, if you don't know how to smile now, you won't know how to smile then. Happiness isn't waiting for you at the finish line. It is found in your presence right here, right now. Science actually backs this up. Even a simple smile sends a signal to your brain to release dopamine and serotonin, the chemicals that naturally lower stress and boost your mood. You can literally smile your way into a better headspace. It is not about forcing joy. It is about choosing your perspective. When you smile, your brain gets the message that you are safe. And when you feel safe, you open up to life again. I remember hearing about a man who would smile at every single person he passed on his daily bus ride. He never said a word, just offered a genuine smile. One day, a woman stopped him and confessed, I was at the end of my rope last week, but seeing your smile reminded me that kindness still exists and that I was still seen. One small free gesture saved a life. You never know what your smile can do, not just for the people around you, but for the person looking back at you in the mirror. How do you find your smile again in a hard world? Start by practicing micro-gratitude. You don't need a massive reason to be happy. Find it in a warm cup of coffee, the feeling of the sun on your face, or a kind word from a stranger. Notice the small lights. Make eye contact with people and offer them a real smile. It costs you nothing, but it changes everything. If you haven't smiled in weeks, don't ignore it. That is a sign that something deeper needs your attention. Reach out, talk to someone, let it out, but don't let your light go out. Laughter is medicine. Watch something that makes you belly laugh. Spend time with people who don't take life too seriously, and stop being so grown up that you forget how to play. You weren't born to carry the weight of the world on your shoulders. You were born to shine. Don't let the struggles of life steal the joy of being alive. Smile, not because everything is perfect, but because you are still here, still fighting, and still becoming. Everyone dies, but not everyone smiles while they are still living. Be the one who does. A smiling soul is a living soul. Listen closely, because this is the final piece of the puzzle. This life is not a dress rehearsal. This is the real thing. There is no second take, no backup copy, and absolutely no guarantee of what tomorrow brings. Most people live as if they have an infinite amount of time, but they don't. They wait, they delay, and they hide behind excuses. They are waiting for the perfect time, waiting for permission, or waiting until they feel confident enough to take the leap. But the truth is, you don't need more time. You need more courage. You need the courage to finally show up as the person you were meant to be. The courage to love without holding back. The courage to walk away from anything that is slowly killing your spirit. The courage to take risks that scare you and to start right where you are. You were put on this earth for a reason, and deep down you already know what that is. So stop wasting your life just going through the motions. From this moment on, make a promise to yourself that you will live wide awake. Do not let your dreams die inside you. Do not leave this world having never shared your best self. Live fully, live deeply, and live loudly. You were not born to be forgotten. You were born to make a mark. If this journey has stirred something inside you, if it has reminded you of your power and your purpose, then take that feeling and turn it into action. This is only the beginning of the life you are about to build. Join us in this movement of people who refuse to just survive. We are building a community here of those who choose to truly live. Subscribe to the channel, stay connected, and let's keep pushing forward together. Because at the end of the day, everyone dies, but not everyone truly lives. Now, the choice is yours. Go out there and make it count. Go live.